Here are the horoscopes for the week of the 17th to the 23rd of August 2015. We spoke last week about the combination of Venus retrograde in Leo with Mercury direct in Virgo, and the need to, if we do need to think a plan forwards, the need to create just a skeletal structure, because while Venus is retrograding in Leo, we need to actually return to our core motivations and the passion within before we make a plan that's not big enough or not meaningful enough going forwards in September. So that energy very much continues, and we are now in the new moon in Leo phase. So we came out of the dark moon in Cancer into the new moon in Leo on Friday, and we have a 2-week window now of that new Leo energy. So everything's still very much happening in the sign of Leo, which is the solar plexus, the heart, the sovereignty, and the fire within. So very much journeying into that inner fire to find what's really warming and kind and heartfelt and generous in our soul plan, so that when we do step forwards, we're working with some real inner energy and passion. We have a couple of aspects that are new this week. All week we have a forming harmonic aspect between Venus and Uranus. So as I say, Venus in Leo is very much returning to the heart, to what really matters, to what makes us feel warm and fuzzy inside, to what really fires us up. And it's very much to do with the emotional and the values of that Venus retrograde. But with Uranus in Aries, then this is to do with the way that we think, and Uranus can often bring quick surprises, changing the neurons that are firing on the neural pathways, changing the way that we even think about something in the first place. So we can expect to have a few surprise meetings or a few surprise inspirations this week with that harmonic between Venus and Uranus. And I feel that if we want to work very deeply with this, it's an aspect that only happens 3 times a year. The next one will be in December and have a slightly different feel towards it. We need to have a look this time at unconditional love, because Venus can be caught in the emotional trap. It can be to do with love and self-appreciation and self-worth, and looking for that from other people in order to stabilise our own sense of self-esteem. And we've had decades of emotional programming that puts us into a place that might not even be the best aspect for our sovereign self. And yet with Uranus in Aries, we have the opportunity to break through some of that programming. So when we think of unconditional love, it remains a lofty concept until we actually bring it into our lives. Can we really love someone just for who they are, rather than for what they represent or give to us? Are we working from a place of need rather than freedom? And are we considering the people that are important in our lives as souls rather than personalities or psychologies or cameos in our play? So on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday especially, it's a very good opportunity to have a look at where your conditions are, where you're asking something from someone and not allowing them to just have their own free expression. And is there a fear around that? Is there a fear of losing control? Because control and surrender is a big theme that's coming up this week. So if you think of unconditional love and you bring it into a very close relationship in your life, does that bring up any fear, any attachment, any that person will leave me, or that person won't validate me anymore if I allow them to be their own expression? Because those attachment and barriers are up for renewal with Uranus in Aries, who wants us to think freely and to step into that Aquarian way of thinking, which is soul to soul rather than person to person. So very interesting. If you want to go deep on that one, it's hugely rewarding, liberates a lot of relationships when you stop trying to hang on and make somebody play a role or fulfill a need, which is actually your responsibility to give to yourself. And Venus in Leo says, go in deep, love yourself, get rid of the want and the need, and free yourself up to just be that expression of love rather than that conditional contract that we are fed through the programming. So that's pretty much a theme all week. Then we have Mercury forming a harmonic to Pluto. So Mercury in Virgo, very high processing power here. Thinking, understanding all the cycles of time, all the small detail, everything that needs to be done and when in order to get to the big harvest. Is at a harmonic aspect to Pluto in Capricorn, which says again we need to break down the foundations that aren't serving us. We can't have these thoughts building upon dodgy ground. If we plan forwards on something that's inevitably failing, then we're not going to get very far. So go back to the core structure. Is it serving you? Is it strong? Is it what you stand on and for? And with your conversations and with your situations in life, is that what you really want? Is that what you really think? And is that what you're really building towards? So two very powerful aspects there, both going forwards and backwards at the same time, both involving Mercury in Virgo, but teaching us that before we step forwards we need to return to the centre and shore up the fact that we're building on ground that is fresh, ground that is solid under our feet, and ground that is going to sustain us when we do step forward into creating these plans and creating the next harvest cycle. So two very harmonious aspects there that can be worked with very deeply, lots of deprogramming, lots of returning to the source of our core beliefs and our core emotions, to check for a while whether they're actually ours in the first place, whether they're actually still relevant, or whether it's something that we actually wanted or decided upon way back in the past and we've not updated our energetic CV. So returning to those inspections before we actually build upwards, we need to check the foundations are solid. So lots of energy around Wednesday, Thursday, Friday about letting go of the past, about realizing the difference between following and leading, surrender and control. Is there a good balance there? Or are we always the one that's pushing ahead? Are we always the one that's trying to control the future? Or are we always the one that's following and always the one that's just allowing others to create our world for us? There needs to be a balance between those two. So control, empowerment, but sometimes control comes from surrender and letting go, rather than always having to surge forwards or be in the lead. Then by the time we get to the weekend, we have the Sun leaving Leo and going into Virgo. So this adds to the pace, the quickness, the productivity and the planning. So we have Mercury and the Sun both in Virgo. And Virgo is our connection with the earth. Virgo is our connection with the harvest cycle, with abundance, with where we serve and what we put our daily energy into and what rewards we reap from that in the long run. So we can take a moment of appreciation there just for the abundance that we're given, for everything that connects us with nature and the cycles of time, everything at the right place and the right time. Our health is important. It's a very organic sign, Virgo. It wants to create from nature itself rather than plastics and pharmaceuticals, or purely from the mental and psychological realm. So a great time to be out in nature, a great time to connect with herbalism and to connect with a new course of learning that will see us through the whole school year. So we can start to get the themes together for where we want to be, heading towards September, October as the major planets start to go direct. But for now, maybe just stop and breathe, have some appreciation and gratitude, reconnect with the more healthy, organic aspect of life. Have a look at where we put our energy. Are we wasting it? Are we just trying to be productive for the sake of it? Or have we got that inner controller that says you should be doing more? Or by now you should have achieved this, because Virgo can be quite a mental sign and it can kind of lose the fun of things by constantly ticking off a list, things that it needs to get done, and then just making another list straight away. So by the weekend, maybe just stop and breathe, appreciate everything that you're given, the beauty of nature, how to harness nature, how to harness that for better, healthy energy and how to manage your energy in a more healthy way so that you're not burning out and exhausting yourself, but how to actually tune into the green flow of organic, natural energy. And maybe a bit of rearranging there, a bit of delegating and a bit of prioritizing can come in while we have the Sun and Mercury in Virgo to make life simpler, less effort, more gain. Can we actually simplify so that we're working with the cycles of time rather than working to that list, rather than just challenging ourselves to try and get as much done as possible? Virgo also speaks to us of our responsibilities, so if you're the person that always does everything and you're around people that let you carry the burden, then as the second earth sign, you may want to kind of dedicate some of your energy to yourself and let go of the need to control and organise and do everything for everybody else, make everything okay for everybody else. Just let go of that and tune back into your own energy flow. Bit of a simplification of diet and sleep, bit of a need not to think too much but just to go into a state of being and flowing with the cycles of time, and not that structure and control and super responsibility that Virgo can bring if we allow it to remain purely in the mental realms. So a really interesting week. We may not actually feel too much happening at us from the outside, but those are some aspects that we can go in with. We can slow down. It is still August. It's a great month to just slow down and enjoy, get to the heart of things, get back to the creativity and the passion of things, knowing that by the time we get to September and October we can start to put those plans into place, and we can start to build a year that is of value to us with that creativity, learning, and very much deprogramming on an emotional level, so that we're not constantly caught in fear and repulsion and repression from ignoring what it is that we really want to do and taking the path of responsibility and obligation. So a backwards week in a lovely way. Enjoy the building Leo energy. Enjoy the Venus retrograde back to the heart centre, and enjoy some surprise thoughts and encounters with Uranus showing us where we might be working from a very old plan and where we can change our base beliefs in order to build on something much newer and much more visionary and much more appropriate for the future. So those are the horoscopes for this week, and I'll see you next week. I have a write-up for each day which hopefully might be inspirational, or at least give you some orientation or direction, so please do come and find those on astrozo.com in the stars this week. And if you'd like to discuss those in more depth, I have a private online group now, so for a simple £5 a month or a £60 yearly subscription, you can come and join a growing group where we look at the application of the current stars to your own chart, so you can learn your chart organically, no matter what level or pace you want to work at. You can talk and connect with like-hearted souls. And we also have some subjects for discussion, which may be blue moons or blood moons, it may be 888 alignments, it may be how to use tarot and astrology together, or it may be just something that's going on in the news right now that has an astrological backdrop. So if you fancy connecting on a daily level, it's almost like having access to your own personal astrologer, learning your chart the easy way, and you also get one of my short online courses as a free gift when you join. Then please do come and see us. That's astrozo.com membership group. Write me an email to introduce yourself and I can invite you to the group, and you'll be able to learn astrology no matter where you are in the world at your own pace and connect with people on a similar wavelength. So that's www.astrozo.com, and I look forward to connecting with you.